You're watching Color 10 News at 6 in high definition.
Color 10 is monitoring some storm chances tonight, but first, 2 people are dead and close to 100 are now hurt after explosions at the Boston Marathon. Good evening, I'm Ashley Ketz.
And hello once again, everybody. I'm David Oliver. Good to have you joining us here for the broadcast. Anybody who wants to continue watching CBS coverage of this tragedy, you can find that happening right now on our news partner, KOZL Channel 27. We, though, are focusing for you right now on the impact of the Ozarks.
And Color 10's Aaron Nolan spoke with a Nixa woman who finished the race just moments before the explosion this afternoon. He is here now with more of her story. Aaron.
Yeah, Ashley, Miranda Cameron finished the race less than 10 minutes from when she heard those explosions. Her first concern was quickly about those that were in Boston with her.
A big boom, and then there was smoke coming up from a building in front of me, and just seconds later another one happened. I got a hold of my fiance to tell him to check on him because it looked like that was where he had been standing just minutes before with my sister, and I was freaking out. And the phones already weren't working on the phones, and then the sirens started going off, and there were like golf carts with medics and police on them going through because the roads were closed, so they didn't get through. And
Did you finally get in touch with your loved ones?
yes.
And they're okay?
Yes, everyone and all my friends that I met here to run the marathon, they're all okay, thank God.
Now, Miranda did tell me that for runners, the Boston Marathon is a special one that she had always wanted to do. But after this tragedy, Miranda says she may never go back to run the Boston Marathon again.
And you can
Ashley.
certainly understand why. Thanks, Aaron. And continuing our team coverage tonight, Richard White of Branson also ran the Boston Marathon. He finished the race just before the explosions and was actually on the subway when it happened. He tells us the city is in a lockdown mode right now as authorities make sure there aren't any more bombs.
It's kind of chaos. Everybody's afraid to go anywhere. I'm hearing reports of runners going to the medical centers and donating blood. And I wanted to do that, but the governor came on and said, stay in your hotel rooms. You know, they don't want people congregating in large crowds. They think there might still be unexploded devices in the city. They shut off the cell phone service downtown because they think somebody might set off one of these devices just, you know, accidentally making a call. So it's pretty chaotic right now.
Clearly, indeed. And our Kevin Schwaller is live right now in Springfield at Ridge Runner Sports. Kevin, I know you've been with some of the friends, some of the local runners who have been out there in Boston for the marathon. What have those folks been doing today?
Spending a lot of time on phones, cell phones, the phone here at the store, also online, checking to see if their friends who are running in the marathon in Boston today were okay. The owner of the shop got a message from one of her friends saying that he had heard the explosion. She actually didn't hear from him again for sure until later this afternoon, just a few minutes ago, saying that he was saddened, that he was shaken, and that also he had taken a long walk back to his hotel. Now, the people here knew about 10 to 15 local runners who had planned to run in the marathon. They believe that all of them are okay, confirmed by either phone conversations or talking to other people who had been in contact with those runners. Phone calls would come in to those working here who would then get up, let everyone know they had confirmed another person was all right. It was interesting because they know their friends well and they know their running patterns well, so they were checking to see when they expected them to finish that race so that they could then compare that time to the time that the explosions went off.
At first, we were getting upbeat, happy texts from a friend of ours who ran in the Boston Marathon. And at 2:16, I got a phone call from him, but I was on another line, so I could not pick up. And I immediately tried to catch that call and then return the call. He had left a message that said he just finished the Boston Marathon and heard explosions.
Again, that friend, Eric Wilbur, is all right, confirmed through a text message just moments ago. Now, this shop is heavily involved in the running community in the area. If you see, here are 2 flyers just of runs coming up this weekend. The store has even more coming up over the weekend. Right now, today, their priority was getting in touch with those people that they knew for sure were running in Boston. And as of tonight, they have confirmed all of them are okay.
And Kevin, we know certainly the running community is very tight-knit here in the Ozarks. Thanks for that part of our coverage. By the way, Chris Revoire, the president of the Ozark Mountain Ridge Runner Club, heard the news today at work. He knows several people from our area in Boston running the marathon.
I'm just in shock. I was looking at the time and thinking that's about the time some of them qualified, so depending upon how they did, they could have been coming across the line at that time. So I was glad to hear everybody's okay.
Runners all over the Ozarks are checking in with friends and family who are in Boston right now at Ultramax Sports on Republic Road. Employees and customers have made contact with members of area running clubs and found out their friends are okay. Still, they are taking this news hard.
No, just like everybody else, you're pretty shocked. Why this race and why now? And fortunately, it happened pretty early into the race, and so the bulk of the people aren't in, so less chance of more people getting hurt.
We have learned many runners from the Ozarks did take part in today's Boston Marathon. According to the marathon's website entry list, 9 were from Springfield, 1 from Ozark, 1 from Nixa, 1 from Branson, 1 from West Plains, and 1 from Battlefield.
Here at Color 10, we often will rely on our friend, retired Army Colonel Steve Robinette for perspective on things like this when they happen. He's a veteran of Vietnam and Desert Storm. Colonel Robinette, thanks again for coming in. We appreciate it. This is very early on. Not a lot of people are speculating right now about what happened out there in Boston, but clearly this was not an accident. What are your thoughts tonight?
Well, first off, it is an act of terror, and it's been declared that by the FBI. So that's very important. Second thing is we have 2 explosions that occurred all but simultaneously, and they found another bomb in the area. So to get those bombs moved into that area with all the surveillance that's in that area is very interesting. And there will be a lot of people in Boston up late tonight looking at all that tape from all the cameras in that area. The thing that indicates probably that this is some kind of ideological motivation of whatever group, probably more than 1 or 2 people that actually perpetrated this. The next thing we're looking at, with today being April 15th, you can look and say, tax day, what's the implication? Most of the anti-tax groups really are against government, not against people. And what you see here with the number of people with 2 dead, 100 people injured, again, back to the ideology, probably not anti-tax.
And Colonel, a lot of cities across the U.S. are on this heightened state of alert right now. D.C., San Francisco. What do you think we're going to be seeing in the coming days? Here in Springfield, we haven't heard of anything. They're monitoring things closely. But what do you think we're going to see in the coming days?
Well, like any kind of event like this, as we're talking about being able to get those bombs in, they probably locked the area down sometime last night. They probably had bomb-sniffing dogs in the area to go through that area and then still be able to pull this off. So any kind of big event in the next few days, particularly at major targets, you're going to have a lot of people doing a lot of checking and rechecking to make sure that this kind of thing doesn't happen again.
Is there any way at this point to kind of distinguish whether this was, and no one's saying this yet, but an act of international terrorism versus an act of domestic terrorism?
No, probably not. But the fact that it is the Boston Marathon and the lead story that you had tonight of all that it means here in the United States. Now, there are a ton of people who come internationally who participate in this race, but if I were guessing, it's domestic terror.
And with your military background, you watched the video of those bombs exploding. What could that point to just from what you've watched on these videos that we're seeing?
Both of those bombs were on the same side of the street, and they were about half a block, 3/4 of a block apart with the 2. The one that I kept watching for was, where was the 3rd bomb? What does it tell us relative to location and the activity of the folks that perpetrated this? I haven't seen where that 3rd bomb was, but the fact that both of them were on the same side of the street, they actually have somebody in custody. But it's somebody who was running away from the event. I don't think that that's all that strange.
A lot more to come for sure on this story. Retired Army Colonel Steve Robinette, thanks so much for coming in. We appreciate your time tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David.
And be sure to stay with Color 10 throughout the night. We'll have continuing coverage of the Boston Marathon explosions, both here on air and on our website, ozarksfirst.com.
Switching gears right now, we're going to check in with Chief Meteorologist Jamie Warner, who's tracking some storm chances overnight in the Ozarks.
That's right. All is quiet right now, but there is a tornado watch to our southwest across much of Oklahoma, the northwest corner of Arkansas, and then south into Texas. Will that threat for severe weather move east overnight tonight? We'll take a look at the chances for that. and the next several days, which also promise to be active here in the Ozarks. That's all in your full forecast coming up.
And now weather with Color 10 News Chief Meteorologist Jamie Warner.
Well, looks like active weather at times over the next several days. Let's go right to the map and see what we're looking at right now. And radar is quiet locally across the Ozarks. Further southwest, tornado watch issued a few hours ago. It's still in effect for eastern Oklahoma and in northwesternmost Arkansas, including areas like Eureka Springs and Berryville. The only severe weather, though, that we have, and really the only thunderstorm activity that we have right now within that watch, though, is south of the state line of Oklahoma and north central areas of Texas. And those are hailstorms that you see down there. Here in our neck of the woods, again, radar is quiet, but there's still an interesting feature to watch, and that is the actual front itself. You can actually see it on radar because the winds are converging along that boundary, generating a little bit of clouds, plus it's causing other particles to converge along the boundary, and radar is sensing that. You see this dark green line right here, right along I-44. That is the front itself, and it's actually dropping back to the southeast. So after wobbling north and allowing Springfield residents to see temperatures warm well into the 70s, it's now beginning to make its way back toward the southeast, and temperatures will likely cool as a result as this front, this boundary, moves through the city over the next hour to hour and a half. Plus, we have to watch this boundary because this is probably where you're going to have your best chance at trying to get something isolated, at least near the front, going. Right now, though, again, radar is quiet. Take a look at these temperatures. Huge range. Temperatures range from the 50s north of the boundary, right along the boundary. It's in the upper 60s and 70s, and then you drop south of the boundary, and it's in the upper 70s to near 80 degrees. So here's our setup. We have a front draped across the Ozarks, basically along I-44. I think the air mass is pretty capped. If you step outside, you'll see that the clouds, there's a little bit of development, but not much. Most of the development is horizontally, not vertically. So basically, there's still that stable layer of air above the surface that's preventing showers and thunderstorms from going along the front or south of the front. And I think that is going to continue to be the case overnight tonight. So this area is shaded in red. This is a very conditional risk for severe weather, mainly an isolated threat for severe weather. North of the boundary, especially as a low-level jet starts to crank up later on tonight, I think it'll be easier to get showers and thunderstorms going here north of the front. But these storms are going to be elevated, and the risks that you get out of storms like that are heavy rain, lightning, and maybe hail. Overnight tonight, this evening, temperatures into the mid-60s by 8 o'clock, low 60s, I think, by late evening here in Springfield. And I think after 10 o'clock is when we have that risk for maybe a few thunderstorms here in the Springfield area. You can see by midnight tonight, notice how the model data really showing areas north of I-44 lighting up with at least widely scattered shower and thunderstorm activity. And notice south of I-44, it stays pretty quiet. I think that's probably going to hold true. And then for tomorrow, into tomorrow night and Wednesday, it looks like mostly cloudy skies and fairly quiet conditions across the Ozarks as that cap really takes hold across the area. It will be Wednesday evening through Thursday, though, that the severe weather threat will once again move back into the Ozarks. Through midnight, it looks like it'll be probably to about or east of Highway 65, and then after midnight across the remainder of the Ozarks. So busy weather still expected, especially later on this week, Wednesday night into Thursday. Temperature-wise, tonight will be a big range. 50s north of the boundary, 60s south of the boundary. Tomorrow will be the same story. Looks like 60s north of the boundary with afternoon highs well into the 70s south of that boundary. After the storm moves through middle of the week, it will get sharply colder. In fact, near freezing temperatures possible Friday and Saturday before temperatures start to warm back up again this weekend.
All right, keep us posted. Thanks, Jamie.
More news after you see this. Local news here on Color 10. Missouri's Department of Revenue director resigns amid the controversy about scanning and keeping of personal information.
Brian Long's resignation comes after the names of thousands of Missourians with concealed carry permits were released to the federal government. The Senate has now launched an investigation.
Color 10's Lindsay Klein is here tonight with the story. Lindsay.
David Ashley, according to Governor Nixon's office, Brian Long was not asked to step down, but his resignation letter says the recent investigation has taken a tremendous toll on his family life. Missouri House Speaker Tim Jones and Senator Kurt Schaefer made a stop in Springfield today to address the Department of Revenue scandal.
This person did not have the ability, this person from Social Security, to do a mass list to profile every single Missourian with a concealed carry permit.
Senator Kurt Schaefer and Missouri House Speaker Tim Jones are trying to get to the bottom of the Department of Revenue scandal.
We believe it's simple profiling of Missourians who are trying to exercise their Second Amendment rights.
The Missouri State Highway Patrol gave a list of more than 160,000 Missourians with concealed carry permits to a federal investigator. Something Speaker Jones says is against the law.
What does putting Missourians back to work have to do with collecting private information and putting it into a federal database, or allowing the transfer of our concealed carry information to be sent to a federal agent working for the Social Security Administration?
The release of this sensitive information is changing some people's minds about going forward with obtaining concealed carry permits.
Now that our information is being released to the national database, I don't see a reason why I would subject myself to go into a national database when I just want the right to defend myself.
Greene County Sheriff Jim Arnott wants his office to be fully in charge.
We do everything now with the exception of sending a piece of paper to the Department of Revenue to put a stamp on their driver's license. So if we just issued a separate permit, it would take that fear away from the citizens that information's being shared.
In the meantime, Senator Schaefer and Speaker Jones are determined to find answers.
It's bureaucrats run wild. They're doing things behind closed doors. It just seems to be a lack of transparency and a general lack of accountability in our state government. It's concerning all lawmakers on both sides of the aisle.
The Senate is continuing to investigate. In a press release, Governor Nixon thanked Brian Long for his service and wished him well in his future. The Department of Revenue's Deputy Director John Mollenkamp is taking over as acting director.
Lindsay Klein, thanks. A Missouri man is suing the Department of Revenue for keeping personal information. Russ Oliver is a prosecutor in Stoddard County, that's over in southeast Missouri, but he's acting as a private lawyer in this lawsuit for a man challenging the department's authority to keep personal information. Now, previously, a judge refused to grant an injunction, but Oliver says the legislative hearing showed that the judge did not have all the information he needed. The Springfield Cardinals are back home tonight.
Nick Carboni has a preview plus.
I had a chance to get the win for us, and I didn't get the job done.
Find out why one Cardinals pitcher was especially frustrated after yesterday's loss.
And now, the Chevy Dealer Sports Report with Nick Carboni.
The Springfield Cardinals are in town for just 2 more days before a quick 4-game trip to Little Rock to play the Arkansas Travs. And tonight, Springfield going to take on the San Antonio Missions. They're the Padres affiliate. Yesterday, they were on the winning end of a slugfest with the Cards, winning 15-9. But despite the loss, that's the most runs the Cardinals have scored in a game this season. They also had a career-high 12 hits. First pitch for tonight's game is 7:09 at Hammons Field. Springfield closer Keith Butler was called up to AAA Memphis to help with injuries there, and the Big Birds could use some closing help as well. Mitchell Boggs continues to struggle yesterday, blowing his second save in 5 chances since taking over for the injured Jason Mott as the Cards blew a chance to sweep the Brewers.
The sweep was there for us to take. Jaime pitched outstanding. Our guys took great at-bats all day long. Bottom line is I had a chance to get the win for us, and I didn't get the job done.
Cardinals starting a 3-game set at Pittsburgh tonight. Right now they lead the Bucks 1-0 early. The Pirates, they're coming off a sweep of the Reds. Lance Lynn throwing for St. Louis, and Pittsburgh's throwing James McDonald. Again, thoughts with everybody affected by the tragedy today in Boston. Certainly a great event for runners around the world, but didn't expect that.
No, not at all. Thanks a lot, Nick.
And we will be right back.
We now go back to CBS News coverage of the Boston bombings. We'll see you back here at 10.
Good night.